Oh, do I sound tinny? Thank you. So before we get started, I'd actually like to start with the word of prayer. So could all just bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this, your Sabbath day. I thank you for those that are here. Lord, you know this is a little out of my comfort zone. So I'm just asking that you give me the words and the information that you would have us share, that we can learn how to respect and honor our bodies that you created, Lord, with natural substances, and that this will be a time of learning and fellowship. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. So that being said, I am not a doctor. I am not going to diagnose anybody. I'm not going to sit up here and say, if you use this oil, you can cure this. Okay? Because everybody's body is different. Everybody's body chemistry is different. That being said, and Sydney touched a little bit on it this morning, oils have been used since the beginning of time, right? They've always been around. Generally safe, aromatically, topically, internally. However, my word of caution with internal is that if you are just starting to use oils, that you do not use them internally. That's my personal advice. And the reason is that oils are extremely powerful. And they're very, very concentrated, right? And so people get the idea that, oh, 1 drop is good, 4 drops is better.
I had a experience with that. My friend, she had these pains because she was a cleaner where she cleaned houses and stuff and was around tons of bombardment of chemicals all the time. And
you want to do that?
The medical doctors, the hospitals, she's been under.
I'm just going to hand you this because we are streaming.
Okay.
So we're going to make people get on mics.
This one friend of mine had been under severe pain and trauma, and she would literally cry in pain of her back and shoulders and stuff. And she was a cleaning person that used a lot of chemicals, and I warned her that probably may have been where a lot of it was coming from. So I said, take some of this oregano oil, and you only want to take a couple of drops because it's going to burn your mouth. And she loved hot food, so she thought no big deal. So she drank about maybe not even a quarter of a bottle of it. And she was on fire before the end of a couple-year period. Between the oregano oil and the B17 and other essential stuff that I was recommended to her, her problems were cured. And maybe sometimes the shock of it might.
I don't know how she had an esophagus left if she was drinking that much oregano oil.
She was gasping for air. She did not turn blue. She didn't go Smurfville or anything. But yeah, it was quite an experience. But yeah, I was ordering the B17 and 500 and 100 milligram tablets. They were making it, I think, down in Mexico and at the Mayo Clinic spinoff or whatever. But yeah, it's amazing. Probably kept her alive.
And here's my other disclaimer about essential oils being safe for the most part. But if you are under a doctor's care, if you are taking medication of any kind for any reason, do not use oils without letting your doctor know what you're using for oils, because they can interfere with medications. So we talked this morning in our health nugget a little bit about what an essential oil was, right? They're derived from plants, found in the root, the the petal, the rind, the leaf, or the bark, depending on your oil. Oils have antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, antifungal, and antiviral properties. Go ahead.
Also antispasmodic.
Yes, we will get into that with some of the oils that are antispasmodic. Yep, absolutely. Essential oils can penetrate our cell membranes to help fight viruses. Even antibiotics can't do that. They can enter your bloodstream within 30 seconds. Rosemary in your shampoo, for example, is a great way not only for hair growth, scalp care, but memory. So we talked about how powerful essential oils are. They're 50 to 70 times more powerful than the herb. For example, 1 drop of peppermint oil is equivalent to 28 cups of peppermint tea. And clove oil contains 450 times more antioxidants than blueberries. So one of the things that, so I brought a bunch of different oils that are up here for you guys to take a look at. Different brands and different things because I didn't want to necessarily promote one brand over the other. But the one thing that if you're going to use essential oils, especially if you're going to use them internally, is certified pure therapeutic grade, which is just so I would use a certified pure therapeutic grade oil, and I would throw a drop of that in my water and not think twice. Would not recommend doing that with something that you're just going to grab off a shelf, in the Walmart home section. That's, peppermint essential oil. It's not the same thing. So the point of today is just to do a very general introduction. We're going to cover 10 of the most popular oils just to give you guys kind of a general overview. We're going to start with lavender. How many people are familiar with lavender oil, right? Pretty much everybody knows lavender, right? So lavender is sort of your queen of essential oils, right? When in doubt, lavender or frankincense is kind of always my go-to. So we all know that lavender is calming, right? Lavender is great for headaches, for tension, for anxiety. If you're nervous, I should have done this before I got up here. A couple of drops of lavender oil on your palms and then inhale. It's a great way to kind of break your stress throughout the day. It can be mood uplifting. Lavender has also been shown to reduce depression-like behavior. Can improve short-term memory and healthy brain function. Rubbed on your abdomen, it's great for menstrual cramps.
Oh, I'll have to look at that one.
Yeah, it's yes. Everybody knows lavender is good for sleep, right? It supports immunity. It repels insects. Lavender is good for burns. For burns. So here's my personal story for lavender. Those of you that were at the Health Expo last year, I burned myself pretty severely. I hooked a carafe of hot water and I poured it down my arm and ended up with a welt and then all these little blisters. And Tanya did a bentonite clay compress on it. And I then did a couple drops of lavender oil and aloe on my arm. And by the time we left, 4 days later, I had no scarring. I still had some residual burn, but I don't have a scar. So, whereas I have others, I've used it on my scar from my shoulder surgery too. So that's like nice and flat now. But yeah, so it's good for scars, good for burns. Natural toxic air freshener. non-toxic air freshener, not toxic. Lavender is one of those oils that is safe for young kids over 2. Lavender has been proven to be safe with pregnant women, but as always, check with your doctor. Lavender, yes.
I just wanted to apologize for speaking out.
Oh, you're fine, honey. Lavender is one of the oils that is considered pet safe. It blends well with bay oil, bergamot, which is a citrus. So if you're looking for the uplifting aspects of lavender over the calming, your citrus, German chamomile, citronella, clary sage, geranium, jasmine, lemon, green mandarin, palmarosa, dark patchouli, pine, sweet orange, rosemary, red thyme, or lang-lang. So lavender oil, not all oils are good as long as other oils. Lavender has a shelf life of about 4 years. Go ahead.
Just curious, you said you could use it on pets and
Yeah,
like,
pet safe.
is it good for kind of repelling ticks, you think? I wonder. And how you would put that on your dog, like put it in water?
I wouldn't
but-
put oils in water.
Oh yeah, it's
Um,
not going to mix. Yeah.
Right,
But like,
right. So lavender wouldn't be what I would use
okay.
for ticks.
More like a freshener, make them smell good and
You could do a freshener with a little bit of coconut oil, or
yeah, okay.
and like if you want to put a couple of drops in his like regular pet shampoo or whatever you use to bathe him with, you could certainly do it that way. Go ahead, Monica.
Tea tree oil.
Tea tree oil is what I would use for ticks.
A
Yes.
lot of natural anti-tick formulas have tea tree oil.
Yes.
It would definitely need a carrier oil, which is where the coconut would come in.
Right.
Because tea tree, yikes! That stuff.
Yes. And
is
we will talk
intense.
about tea tree a little bit more. Yeah. So lavender, good for about 4 years. All right. Peppermint. Anybody have any experience with peppermint? Yeah. All right. Peppermint is a cooling oil, but peppermint is also a hot oil. Does anybody know what a hot oil is? No? All right. So go ahead, Sydney.
It will burn.
It will burn. Yes. Peppermint has to be diluted. Well, okay. So peppermint is considered a sensitive oil, not necessarily a hot oil, but the first time you use peppermint, you should always dilute it because some people are more sensitive than others. But I do know that at the Ark, when it used to get really hot in the summertime, we would put a couple of drops of peppermint on the back of our neck. It will make you feel cooler. So the big one for peppermint is respiratory issues. We've been doing it with Mom all week, getting rid of her cold. So it's a natural decongestant. It's great for stomach issues. But again, if you're gonna use peppermint on your abdomen, and you want to make sure that you're diluting it the first couple of times that you use it until you know whether or not. Coconut oil, almond oil, jojoba oil. We'll go over some of the good oils that you can use to blend with. You can use olive oil. If it's I would use a good quality, virgin oil, not, Hannaford. Yeah, well, and that's the problem with olive oil is that olive oil has its own scent. So, but you could. So peppermint is antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory. It's great for headaches. That's always been my go-to is peppermint oil with a little bit of coconut oil, temple in the back of the neck. Works great for headaches. It is energizing. Again, a couple drops on your palms and sniff throughout the day is much better than having the energy drink or the coffee. Go ahead, Monica.
I was at the children's ministries retreat several years ago, and this wonderful, beautiful woman of God named Camille. I was very tired and could barely keep my eyes open. This wonderful, beautiful woman of God named Camilla Morrison came up to me and gave me some peppermint oil, and it woke me up.
Yep.
I'm telling you, it woke me up.
It will boost alertness, reduce fatigues. Yes. Peppermint is also another one that's good for hair growth. A natural bug repellent. Ants and spiders do not like peppermint. So, go ahead.
And mice.
And mice. That's right. I forgot about the mice. Yep. Peppermint will ease a sunburn. Where you think it could irritate your skin. But yeah, you mix it and it can ease the sunburn. Peppermint is not recommended for kids under 10 because it is a sensitive oil, not recommended for kids over 10. Still considered safe for pregnant women, but again, check with your doctor. Peppermint is not pet safe. Do not use peppermint on your pets. Honestly, I wouldn't even diffuse peppermint in your home if you have pets. Some cats, my mom had this issue, was diffusing peppermint. We had a cat react very badly to it before we knew. Cat's fine, but So just one of those, you need to check. Not all pets would be that sensitive, but as a general rule, I would not recommend peppermint in a diffuser at home for pets. They do recommend that you dilute peppermint 5% or less because it is a sensitive oil. So you want to make sure that essentially what that means is that you want, 5 drops of peppermint oil and the rest to be your carrier oil. We'll go over blends a little bit later, but you do want to make sure that you blend that one well. Some of the things that blend well with peppermint, basil, bergamot, cedarwood, eucalyptus, lemon, lime, mandarin, marjoram, pine, rosemary, spearmint, and thyme. Personally, peppermint and eucalyptus are like my go-to when people are sick. Storage life for peppermint is 4 years. Lemon. Anybody know anything about lemon oil? Lemon oil is known as a detox oil. So lemon is great for allergy relief. It can be used to balance pH levels. It's very mood uplifting. Any of your citrus oils are going to be invigorating and mood uplifting. Lemon oil has been used to relieve gout and kidney stones. Supports a healthy immune system. Lemon essential oil is by far the go-to for a non-toxic cleaner for your home. Those of us who have little ones that like to color on your walls, lemon oil will take Sharpie off walls. Just saying. It will also take ink off the seats of your car. If you sit in the car with pens like my husband has been known to do, lemon oil will take ink off the seats of your car. Yep. As he's glaring at me from the back now. Go ahead, Sydney.
Do you use just the straight lemon oil then? You just put a little bit on a cloth or something and then just rub it to get it off of walls and car seats?
Mm-hmm. Yep, or you can do a non-toxic, like a cleaner. I have a few blends. So that would be my goal. Is today was really just like an introduction to some basic oils, and then we'll hopefully have another class in the future where we'll do some blends and non-toxic home cleaners, things to replace candles and wax melts in your home, shampoos, conditioners, things like that.
I've heard that, drinking, this is different. This is not oil, but lemon, juice with water in the morning, or just lemon water,
Mhm.
So can you take this and add that well, I know you keep saying you can't add these to water, but just
Well,
curious.
so
I know where we were talking about.
I put lemon oil in my water. Yes.
Okay.
Again,
Lemon.
you know,
Okay. It maybe down the
certified,
road.
pure,
Right.
therapeutic
Okay.
grade. Make sure you know your oil if you're going to
Right.
take it internally. Okay. I
Okay.
can't stress that enough, because I don't want somebody to just go grab something off a shelf and say, well, Kim said it was safe to put this in my water. Okay. But yes, it's great for metabolism. Lemon, right. I wouldn't put more than a drop. If you're gonna put oils in water and then drink them, make sure you are using a stainless steel container. Do not use it in plastic. Yeah, you want metal, right, or glass. You could use glass. Yeah. But you definitely want to make sure that you're using glass or metal for a container. Why? It'll leach the out of the plastic. The stuff in your plastic, like, I don't know if you've ever heard about, the thing about don't leave your water in a plastic bottle in your car and then drink it, because it leaches all the toxins. Oils will do the same thing. It'll pull those toxins out of the plastic. Yeah.
Is that why my bottle smells like lemon?
Oh, because you have a plastic bottle. Yeah, metal or glass if you're going to use oils. Yes, metals or glass. Yeah. And that's fine, but if you were going to use and switch and do an oil, you would want metal or glass for sure. So healthy immune system, non-toxic cleaners. Lemon for metabolism. Lemon for mixed with grapefruit is a really good metabolism. Appetite suppressing. So even if you just diffuse it, just diffuse lemon and grapefruit. Grapefruit oil. Yeah, grapefruit oil. Yep. So lemon blends well with bergamot, cedarwood, citronella, coriander, geranium Egyptian, lavender, lemongrass, lime, neroli, pomarosa, petitgrain, rosemary, sandalwood, vetiver. Storage life of 1 to 2 years for lemon oils. Any of your oils, if you're going to store them, like to be stored in the dark. Oils don't like sunlight. It will greatly shorten the life of your oil. Tea tree oil. We were talking about this one before class started. Tea tree oil is a fantastic first aid oil. It's great for insect bites, cuts, scrapes, burns, you name it. It's great for a tick repellent. It's great for insect bites. I had some nasty black fly bites up at camp one year, and I had like sloughed off the top 6 layers of my skin scratching before I remembered I had tea tree oil with me. Tea tree is used to prevent fleas and lice. Yeah, so like if a lot of your over-the-counter lice shampoos have tea tree in them. The thing with tea tree I was saying earlier is it's a great oil. I personally struggle with it because to me it smells like kerosene. But it's great. I will use it. It's good for earaches as well. You can lavender as well, outside of the ear and rub downward. Pulls fluid down. It's good for skincare, natural cleaning, respiratory health. It is an uplifting, confidence boosting is how they label it, oil. Tea tree is safe for kids over 2. Go ahead, Monica. I'm sorry.
4 years ago, 4 years ago, when I disappeared from church, and nobody knew where I was. There was a week where I spent that week in an apartment in Brunswick, and while I was there, I got sick, and I was treated with a bunch of natural remedies.
Mhm.
And one of the things Sonia Tardif treated me with was some sort of antiviral tea tree oil blend that she had made. Between that and the saline that I was taking, I got a lot better before I was taken to the hospital due to lack of care.
It is a very good oil. Tea tree is considered safe for pregnant and breastfeeding women, but again, check with your doctor. Now, the conflicting thing with tea tree is a lot of people say it's not pet safe. But I know of a lot of natural over-the-counter flea and tick sprays that actually use tea tree. Consult your vet, or very, very diluted. Tea tree should be diluted to 5% or less. Tea tree is also considered a sensitive oil, so it can be irritating to skin. Great for fingernails and toenails after showering to keep them looking healthy. It's purifying for the air. Supports digestion. A couple of the things that blend well with tea tree are some of your peppermint, eucalyptus, lemon, and lavender. And the shelf life for tea tree is 2 to 3 years for that one. So frankincense. Now we all know frankincense, right? You guys all know frankincense in the Bible. So frankincense is the king of oils. Essentially, when in doubt, go with frankincense. My kids will tell you, they'll call me up and they'll be like, oh, Mom, I dropped, Brandon works as a mechanic. I dropped a wrench on my finger and, Christopher got his thumb caught in a machine at work. And I was like, oh, well, he's like, yes, Mom, I know. Frankincense. I know, Mom. I know. But it's true. Frankincense is great for wounds. It will speed up healing. It's good for arthritis. Safe for kids over 2. Safe for pregnant women, but again, consult your doctor. Frankincense is safe for pets. It's good for joints. I have a blend at home that I use with my fibro, and I used on my shoulder after my surgery. Frankincense can be hormone balancing. It's also good for sleep. It's good for skincare. It is an antiseptic, which is why it's so good for wounds. Frankincense is also an anxiety and stress relieving hormone, or oil, not hormone. And it can be mood boosting. Frankincense is just kind of one of those, like, I don't know, good oils that you're just kind of like, ooh. Go ahead, Monica.
Frankincense energy boost as well.
Yes. Frankincense will, yes.
It does both sleep and energy boost.
Yeah, and it's weird because you're like, well,
interesting.
why would I use it for sleep if it's energy boosting, right?
Yeah.
But it's just how it reacts with your body and what you
Yeah.
blend it with and when you use it. Go ahead.
I've used frankincense with bentonite clay to make a mask
Ooh,
for the
nice.
skin, and that's very nice too.
Ooh, I
Just
haven't tried that.
a
I'll
few
have to
drops of
try.
frankincense mixed in with the bentonite clay, and you can paint that right on. And yeah, they work really well
Nice.
together.
Nice. So the other thing that frankincense is good for is gut health and digestion. If you add to citrus and diffuse it, it's great for mental fatigue. So that like midday slump that we all kind of get studying for finals, Miss Jasmine, frankincense and citrus. Um, Frankincense will reduce the appearance of scars and blemishes as well. And I have not tried this one, but those who know me know I'm addicted to chapstick. So I just came across this one. Combine it with coconut oil for chapped lips. So
Which means it would probably work on full sores too.
yes, I would think. So that's going to be my new go-to right there. Things that frankincense blends well with: lime, lemon, wild orange, cypress, lavender, geranium, rose, sandalwood, lang lang, and clary sage.
I'm surprised that myrrh's not on that list because I blended it successfully with myrrh too.
I am sure that you could blend it with myrrh. These are just like some of the top ones that it blends with. The beauty of things is that, you know, for the most part, it's going to depend on what you're looking to get out of your oil. And when we do a blending class, we'll talk about top notes and bottom notes and things like that, and what blends well best with what. But it's not like, well, you can't blend myrrh and frankincense together, you know. So it's what you're trying to get from your blend. And you play around and figure out, you know, what works best for you. Oregano, as we talked about, oregano is a hot oil. Please do not do oregano without diluting it in a carrier oil. And oregano, of all the oils, I would say don't take internally. I do know Pastor Tony used to do a drop of oregano in 4 ounces of water when he was treating his Lyme. And he was doing that with a doctor. Like they were doing that as part of his Lyme protocol. Go ahead, Sydney.
I was just going to say there's different levels of extracts, and we're talking about essential oils, which are super concentrated extract, but you can also get oil of oregano, which is a less concentrated extract of oregano, which is much safer to take internally than, you know, so you might opt to do something like that if you want to take oregano internally versus using the essential oil.
That's a great point. Yeah. And that's the other thing. There is a difference between oil of oregano and oregano essential oil, right? An essential oil is just that. It's essential. It's very super, super concentrated. So, you know, if you're like Tony and wanted to do oregano for, you know, your Lyme protocol or whatever with your doctor, Sydney's right. I would probably do oil of oregano before I did oregano essential oil. Go ahead.
Sydney actually used oregano oil on me when I was sick about a month and a half ago. Sydney actually used oregano oil. I think it was oregano and peppermint that you mixed, right? Oh, oregano and eucalyptus that you mixed. And I still kind of barely had a voice, but I was perked up and actually somewhat able to talk. by the time she left. Wasn't I, Sydney?
Yeah. And it is, they're extremely useful, but, again, start slow, start small, build your knowledge, and then you can expand.
Yeah, I've used oil of oregano for a long time because it also is good with breathing and stuff. I discovered then at Axis she saw that I was buying some. She said, "Now we have this super concentrated one here at the counter, right?" I said, "Oh, that's the one I'm looking for. It's $40 for like an ounce and a half. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like it's really, really small vial of it." So I bought one of those. And the way I've always taken oil of oregano, I'll just take a drop or two, and I'll take my glass of juice.
Yeah.
Usually you want to use something that's going to help cut the oil, so I'll use like
Right.
orange juice or grapefruit juice or whatever. And then I'll do a shot of that real quick. That way it doesn't burn your esophagus and everything up. But this stuff, I took that and it was powerful.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
It can make you sick. People are like, well, it's all natural, so it can't, it can't be bad, right?
you're on the floor, yeah.
Other things for oregano oil is good for achy joints and muscles. Seasonal illnesses. It's a great non-toxic cleaner. Heart health, cholesterol. It's good for seasonal allergies. Cleanses skin. It's an expectorant. So helps get that last little bit of cough out. We haven't done oregano with Mom because I was out. I just recently picked up some more, but it is good for things like that. Energizing. It supports immune health because it's antibacterial, anti-inflammatory. This is one of the ones that you were talking about, Monica, that is antispasmodic. It can promote sleep. Go ahead.
I just have a funny story about oregano oil
Ooh,
really quick.
I like funny stories. Please tell.
So we have essential oils, all around our house, and I use them. I do use them with the kid. I've used them with the kids before they were 2, but very small doses.
Right,
but
right.
It's not recommended.
Right.
Necessarily.
Right. If you know what you're doing, that's a whole different story. It's,
Yeah. So this one day we used to have, we still have the car, this old Civic that we haven't been able to get registered, and was sitting in our front yard for a long time, and the kids love to play in it. And they would love to go out and sit in the car and pretend to drive and everything, right? So the kids are out playing in the car, and I'm inside. And then all of a sudden, I start hearing screaming.
Oh, no.
And Leah comes running into the house. Sarah drank the oil. Sarah drank the oil. My heart was in my throat because they're playing in a car. I thought she drank motor oil.
Right?
Right? So I go running out, and Sarah's crying. Oh, and she had a primary herpetic infection in her mouth. So it was like a first infection of like a herpes simplex virus in her mouth. So her mouth was covered in sores, right?
Oh, poor thing.
So I go running out and I grab her, and she's crying. And I'm like,
that's not motor oil.
what's that smell? You smell like a pizza.
Why do you smell like pizza?
They had a little bottle of oregano oil that they had snuck out of the house. And she had taken a couple of drops of that. The next day, all of her sores in her mouth were gone, though.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. But it was wonderful she probably wouldn't want to do it that way again, though. Whew, okay, mouth sores. We'll add that one. Oof. Okay. Gut health, digestion, anti-parasitic, antifungal, antiviral is oregano. Go ahead, Sharon. Yep.
My husband had pneumonia, and he had gone to the doctor, and he got a prescription for 10 days.
Yep.
It's actually bronchial pneumonia. So 10 days went by. He sounded pretty good because he was coughing constantly. Never stopped talking, couldn't lay down, he'd cough.
Mm.
So it came back. So I said, well, you're going to have to call the doctor because, maybe you can get another prescription. And because I don't think I really wasn't sure he would try anything that I had because I have a lot of essential oils.
Right.
And so he said, I'm not calling them again because now it's January and I think he had to pay the deductible. And he said,
Oh,
they should
yeah.
just be able to call him up and tell me that I can get it reinstated. So I said, well, he did call and they said, no, we have to see you. He said, I'm not going back in. I said, well, then welcome to Dr. Sharon because she's going
Yep.
to take care of you.
Exactly.
So I
Exactly.
gave him a drop of oregano oil in an 8-ounce glass of water. And I would come up from behind because I'm from the kitchen behind me and he's sitting in a chair and he kind of like, uh-oh, what does she have for me now? Because he'd already tried it a couple times. He goes, because 4 days, he was completely well.
Yep.
In 4 days. And they say you shouldn't take a drop in water for more than 4 days so it does havoc with your gut.
Right. Yeah.
So you can take a break for a couple of days and then go back to it if you want
Right.
to. And then we took it when we were out to visit my daughter, the same thing once every day because all the kids were sick and we never got it.
Yeah.
And that's a first.
Well, when
So-
we were traveling, so this is what I take. I fill this with like whatever I can fit in here, however many I can fit in here, and this travels in the RV with us. And so Andy got a really bad cold when we were in Yellowstone, and literally I was like, "Oh, wait." So we did the steam bath. I mean, I literally, pot boiling water, throwing some eucalyptus and peppermint in there with this head over towel, and that's how we treated that over the road because we were like, we are not stopping at an emergency room. We're in the middle of Montana. We're in the middle of Yellowstone, right? And that's how we did it. And it's funny because when you first, and Andy wasn't like this, but my kids were, you first start talking about natural remedies and oils and stuff, and they're like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever. And then they try everything else, and suddenly they're like, hey, Mom, what did you say was good for what? You need that. And so, Andrew was one who struggled with digestion for a very, very long time, and will now swear by, peppermint oil and will call me up and be like, Mom, needs more peppermint oil, So break them in slow, but break them in because they're worth it. So because oregano oil is so powerful, it is not recommended for kids over 10 or under 10. Not safe for pregnant and breastfeeding women. Oregano is not pet safe. It is a hot oil, so it needs to be heavily diluted. Blends well with rosemary, pine, sweet marjoram, eucalyptus, lemon, dillweed, and citronella. Shelf life of 1 to 2 years. Clary sage, one of my favorites. Good for pain. Again, like a lot of your oils, it's uplifting. Clary sage is kind of like the woman's essential oil, right? It's good for hormones. It's good for mind and body. It's good for your skin. It will curb bacterial growth and infection in urinary tract, colon, and intestine. If you struggle with UTIs. It strengthens your gums. Tones skin, muscles, and hairs. It regulates bowel movements. So it's good for depression, stress, anxiety, boosts libido, reduces blood pressure, antispasmodic, and also anticonvulsant. Clary sage is also antiseptic and anti-inflammatory. It is safe for kids over 2, safe for pregnant women. Again, consult your doctor. Clary sage is considered pet safe. Blends well with lemon, lime, wild orange, frankincense, cypress, geranium, sandalwood. That one has a shelf life of 3 to 4 years. Lemongrass, which is different than lemon. Lemongrass is good for infections, illnesses, fevers. It is calming, reduces mental fatigue. It is one of those uplifting blends because again, it's the citrus, so it's good for mental health. It's good for your natural cleaners. Soothes aching muscles. It's a natural deodorizer. So if you run into like we didn't have it this year, but sometimes when we pull the RV out of storage, it kind of gets that like musty kind of dry smell. Lemongrass. It's great as an astringent for skincare, hair growth and scalp care as well. So if you struggle with like dandruff or itchy scalp, a couple drops of lemongrass in your shampoo. It's a natural bug repellent, reduces stomach aches, relieves headaches, antibacterial, antifungal, energizing. So this one is safe for kids over 10, safe for pregnant and breastfeeding women. Consult your doctor. This is one of the funny ones. It's safe for cats, but not safe for cats, but safe for dogs. Should be heavily diluted and use caution on damaged skin. So no, it's great for your skin. If you have like open sores or a rash, use caution with lemongrass. Blends well with bergamot, cedarwood, clove, clary sage, geranium, helichrysum, lemon, neroli, patchouli, rose, rosemary, sandalwood, or vetiver. Eucalyptus is the other one that most people know and think of for respiratory coughs, colds. It is good for a cleaner as well. It will ease itching from insect bites. It is an energizing and boosts mental clarity as well. This is another one that's good for headaches or earaches. Also aids in wound care. So this one is safe for kids over 10. Again, it's a stronger, can be irritating oil. Safe for pregnant women, consult your doctor. Shelf life of 2 to 3 years for this one. Blends well with thyme, rosemary, marjoram, lavender, and cedarwood. So the last one we're going to go over when we have other stuff to cover, but the last oil we're going to touch on is helichrysum. Go ahead.
Just want to share a little testimony about eucalyptus.
Oh, yay.
So, let's see, Johnny's 2.5. So when he was, I don't know, probably like 9 months, we were up at the Northern Maine camp meeting.
Yep.
Up in Caribou. And we had been camping now for a couple of weeks. We were at the Wanamackers for the Country Living Workshop, and then we went straight from there up to Northern Maine. And when we got up to the Northern Maine camp meeting, Johnny got whooping cough. I've never been more terrified to wake up to that sound in the middle of the night. Like it sounded like he had a piece of plastic in his throat and he couldn't breathe. And we had nothing. We were, in a camper. And our camper is not an RV like yours.
No. No.
Yeah, we were basically camping, and all we had was I had a stovetop so I could boil water, and we had some washcloths and towels. And a friend of ours had eucalyptus because I actually didn't have mine with me. And so that first night was terrible. I didn't know what to do. I was like beside myself. I didn't sleep all night. And, we talked to some people and realized that it was whooping cough. And I said, well, I'm going to try eucalyptus and I'm going to do steam.
Yep.
And see because usually it keeps coming back for a few nights. So every time before I put him to sleep, I would nurse him under, in a steam tent. I'd put a towel over us and have the steam with the eucalyptus, and I would nurse him there, and then I would put him to bed, and he never coughed again.
Amen.
Yeah, really powerful.
Yeah. And that's, that's the thing when you learn about them and you use them, they will save your butt when there isn't anything, and think about it, with, and I'll get right back to you, Monica, but with the abundance of, um, overuse of antibiotics and antibiotic resistant strains and things like that, right? And if you think about this in the scope of the health message, right? These are the things that God created and gave to us to be able to use, right? They require a little bit of learning, I don't I don't consider myself, there by any stretch of the imagination. I still learn and do a lot of reading all the time about them. But they are I would much rather do a eucalyptus steam bath on, my child with whooping cough than I would put them in a hospital and let them, and that's not to say there isn't a time and place for medical doctors. Please do not, you know, misunderstand me. But if you can treat naturally, you're going to be better off. So Monica, you had a thought. I'm sorry.
Yes, the thought. What I have is a testimony.
Okay.
Eucalyptus is wonderful for respiratory things. Yes, it is. But it's also wonderful on cold sores. You can even blend it with peppermint. But even on its own, it does really good. I had some bad ones. And I do mean bad ones. The last time I got something.
Mhm.
And I used eucalyptus on those sores, and for a while, because I was so sick and the eucalyptus would come off too easy, I mixed it with honey so it would stay on.
Manuka honey, yeah. Yeah.
No, just regular raw honey. And but the eucalyptus really took care of the cold sores.
Nice. Okay, so we're going to cover the last oil that I want to touch on today is helichrysum, which is an amazing oil, but it is an expensive oil. But helichrysum is great for skin. It's great for eczema. It supports immune function, relieves achy muscles and joints. It's great to use in a massage oil after workouts. It's invigorating. It helps refocus. Used to diffuse helichrysum with my boys that had ADHD when we were homeschooling. Just kind of helps. Safe for kids over 2, safe for pregnant women, but again, check with your doc. Pet safe, shelf life of 2 years. It blends well with rose, clary sage, geranium, and lavender. So I want to go over real quick, because I don't want to keep you guys here all afternoon, but I want to go over the hot oils and the photosensitive are the sensitive oils again. So hot oils are the ones that you cannot use straight without diluting. They can cause irritation. They can even burn your skin, okay? They have to be diluted at least 20/80, and some are a lot more than that, which is 2 parts of oil to 8 parts carrier. So if you're going to do 2 drops of oregano, you need to have at least 8 drops of your carrier oil, okay? Cassia, and believe me, I did this one. I forgot when I was first starting. I knew about most of the hot oils. I forgot about cassia. And I did cassia directly on my skin. Not good. Cassia, cinnamon bark, clove, hyssop, lemongrass, oregano, and thyme are your hot oils. Those are the ones that you really need to dilute before you use. Sensitive oils are ones which should be diluted until you know how your skin reacts to them. Bergamot, black pepper, cedarwood, copaiba, which is great for pain, eucalyptus, fennel, geranium, ginger, lemongrass, lime, peppermint, spearmint, and wintergreen. Should all be diluted first before you use them. Anyone ever hear of a photosensitive oil? Okay, so as we're approaching summer and everyone likes the energizing, uplifting of citrus oils, here's my warning. Do not use essential citrus oils on your skin and then go sit out in the sun. You will burn. You should avoid direct sunlight and UV rays for at least 12 hours after using citrus oils on your skin. Bergamot, grapefruit, lemon, lime, tangerine, and wild orange. So I had a friend who forgot that citrus oils were sensitive, and I don't remember, she'd made a lotion or something with orange and lemon and lime and, you know, all these wonderful, fun, summer smelling scents. And she lathered herself up and went and laid out in the sun. Couldn't figure out why she got a burn in about half the time of what she would normally have burned, because photosensitive oils will increase the likelihood that you burn. In your packets are a couple of additional handouts on where to apply and how to apply for what you're looking for. Just for sake of time, I'm not necessarily going to go over these. The Hello Glow one talks about what oils are best on what parts of your body. And this one talks about if you're looking for things like restful sleep, apply to your big toe, your forearm, your forehead, or your wrists. So just a general kind of idea of where and what to use. The other thing that I want to go over is get yourself some good books, you know, like just a couple. This one, again, I'm not promoting any one oil or another, but this is the one that I got with doTERRA when I started with doTERRA. I like this one. Feel free to come up and flip through these after. You can tell it's a little worn. But this goes through histories of oils. It talks about where to apply, how to apply, and then it will list the oils, what it's good for, how to use it, and some of the blends that you can make with it. The other author that I personally really, really like is Dr. Eric Zielinski. I don't know if any of you have heard of him. So he is a Christian doctor who does a lot with natural remedies and essential oils. And so this is one of the first books I got from him, The Healing Power of Essential Oils. And it breaks it down, and he talks about different blends in here. So a lot of your essential oil books will have some recipes in there that you can try for different things. This one also kind of breaks down some of your top oils, talks about different blends, how to blend top notes, bottom notes, that kind of thing. This is my new one that I haven't even gotten into. It's coming on the RV with us for vacation. But this is another one. This is Essential Oils of the Bible. This one talks about scripture verses of Bibles that were used in the Bible and different ways, remedies, and recipes that you can use them for. Talks about, so it'll list the oil, and then it'll list your medicinal properties, the uses, what it blends with, what you can substitute it with if you're out of something, and precautions. So, you know, these are the best ways to kind of play around, right? Learn what smells look good for you. I have all 10 oils that we talked about today. I do have up here. I have a bunch of different brands. Not all the ones that I have up here right now are certified pure therapeutic grade. Just because I was a little tight on cash at one point, I needed to just fill out so that we would have them for today. I would use them topically. I would use them aromatically. I would diffuse them. I would not use. So these are some of the ones that are not. They're a pure essential oil, but because they are not therapeutic grade, I wouldn't use these ones internally. That's just me, my recommendation. Questions? Go ahead, Sharon.
Can frankincense be used directly on a wound or on an area for arthritis, or do you have to dilute that as well?
No, you can use frankincense directly, but I would make a blend with some oil so that you could really kind of massage it in, like almond oil or coconut oil. I mean, so my go-to has always been coconut oil. I just like it. So there's, a bunch of different ones. And I think I put that, maybe I didn't put that in your packet, but some of the top carrier oils, jojoba oil, which is great for skincare. It's gentle, it's moisturizing, it absorbs quickly, it's got a slightly nutty smell to it. That has a shelf life of 2 to 5 years. Coconut oil has no noticeable aroma, which is why it's great as just a standard. You can kind of blend it with anything. Absorbs well, leaves the skin feeling silky and moisturized. Believe it or not, it's not greasy. I know you would think that it is, but it's not. It's high in essential fatty acids. That one has a shelf life of 2 to 5 years. Some of the others are grapeseed, which is light and very thin. That one is good for skincare as well. It's high in linoleic acid and vitamin E. Sweet almond, if you're going to do one for your hair, that would be my recommendation. Moisturizing for skin, hair, and nails. Slightly sweet, nutty aroma. That one's high in vitamin E and oleic acid. That one has a shelf life of 1 to 2 years. And then, of course, there's olive. Light, non-greasy, perfect for cleansing, moisturizing, but it does have that stronger aroma with it. But it is a good source of omega fatty acids. And that one has a shelf life of 1 to 2 years. So because oils are so strong and because they are expensive, right? I mean, if you're going to get the therapeutic grade, they're more expensive, right? So it's better if you use them with the carrier oil because you're just getting more bang for your buck. But if you're in a position where you're like, oh, I don't want to take the time to make a blend and whatever, yeah, you could use frankincense directly on your skin. Any other questions? Go ahead.
I was going to ask, so I had an experience recently with a patient who had dry socket, and I had learned that a good essential oil to use is clove for a situation like that. So I was just wondering if you had a little bit more input on clove specifically for like mouth situations.
So clove and myrrh are both great for mouth sores. Again, clove is very strong. 1 drop water, swish, rinse. I wouldn't swallow.
Yeah.
But yeah, clove is great for anything in your mouth. Infections in your gum, what's one I'm trying to think of?
An abscess.
Thank
or
you.
gingivitis, yeah. Yeah.
I'm like over here going, that one. That one. So yeah, I would swish, rinse. I mean, obviously with the dry socket, you want to, be cautious because, that swishing can be a little, but yeah.
I've used clove for like teething for my kids, and I have just put a drop, essentially 1 drop, on a Q-tip, and then rubbed that on. So if you're looking for so if you're looking for more of a rinse, probably more for like more of a cleansing
Right.
type of thing, the rinse would be good. But if you're looking for like very pointed local pain,
Just a
perhaps
drop.
doing it on a Q-tip,
Q-tip.
and then you can get it exactly where you need it. And that might be more effective in that case.
We had done a myrrh rinse with Gina. She had some mouth sores, and we did myrrh with her at the Ark, and had some really good results with that. So, yeah. Any other questions, comments? All right, I'm going to close. Thank you, guys.
I have one
really
question.
appreciate your patience. And
Hey, Kim.
yes, go
I
ahead.
was just waiting to see if anybody else had a question. I have one question.
Sure.
When you say that they have a shelf life, they don't go rancid, do they? Or is it
No.
just that their potency is now dropped and they're not as
Right.
effective?
Right.
So is there like, so say I find in the back of my cabinet an essential oil that, has a shelf life of 4 years, but it's been 5 years. Is there a huge detriment to using that if you need it, other than it might
No.
just not be as effective?
Right, exactly. It just may not give you the full benefit of the oil and have as much potency as your original oil. But you're not gonna. You're right. It doesn't go rancid. You're not gonna get sick if you use it. It's just not as effective.
It's more of a best by date versus an
Yeah.
expiration date.
Yeah.
It's kind of like beans.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, again, it's not going to like go moldy on you and, well, yeah, absolutely. I would, right. It may not be, right. I mean, it may not be one that you want to use internally, but it may be, a great one to diffuse or use in a cleaner, like you said. Yeah, it's a good idea. Anything else? Monica, yes?
Nothing that I want to ask on camera though. Like,
Oh, okay. I'll talk to you after then. Ooh. I'm not sure I want to be available for that one. All right. I'm just teasing you, honey. All right. I'd like to close us in prayer, though. If you guys don't mind, can we just bow our heads one more time before we leave? Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you again for this group of people, Lord. I thank you for the opportunity to share something that I'm passionate about and for their willingness to listen and for their interaction. Lord, I thank you again for your Sabbath day and pray for traveling mercies for us all as we head home. We just ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Thanks. I don't know. You tell me.